Yo, welcome to the Better Bros podcast. Barret, Nobel, Don Hickman. You know what we're about? Five pillars: fitness, finance, family, friendship, and faith. Don, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I was just thinking we take a minute and explain and kind of talk about how and the why of the group works to everybody. We've been posting in the socials, posting on the YouTubes and all that stuff, and yeah, we can help, right? But let's talk a little bit about the why and the how for people that might not know.
Yeah, it seems to be like a common recurring theme. Like we'll get dudes that are interested and they'll DM us or something based on a post that we made and be like, hey, this sounds awesome. What are you guys about? So figured we kind of set the record straight a little bit to some degree because honestly, it's one of those things that you have to experience to really get the full understanding. But maybe there'll be some sort of clarity and insight into what exactly being a better bro is after our chats here today. But I guess one of the biggest things we could kick off with is goal setting. I mean, it's funny because it's similar to fitness. Like once you like break it down, it's all just fundamentals, like goal setting. Yeah, wow, that's nothing new, but it's something so powerful to be able to have a brotherhood and a group of dudes who like you're there's a certain level of comfortability and vulnerability and safeness, for lack of a better word, of putting out your goals into the brotherhood like that. That is it's different than if you're just isolated by yourself, like just sitting there every morning, like I'm gonna do this today, and then you do that for a couple weeks at a time, and for some reason nothing ever happens. You never move the needle on any of that shit because you're just sitting there in isolation and you don't have any real accountability for it. Because who's gonna check up on you? I mean, maybe your wife, cool, that'd be great, but at the end of the day, it would be awesome to be able to put out those goals in a format where other dudes are getting after it and they're gonna be like, "Hey, you said you were gonna do this. What's up?"
Jump in there too because that's one of the so two things like you said you kind of opened with goals. It's nothing new. Okay. If it's nothing new and it's nothing profound, why aren't you doing it? I mean, how many guys are out there that just not doing it, right? Like we're just
Yeah,
floating through life day by day. And I get it. Life is heavy, right? A lot of us are just, not exactly thriving, but surviving. Life's heavy. You don't have time to sit back and sit, or the capacity to just sit back and be like, hey, let me jot out my goals and what am I going to do? Well, let me tell you, there's power in that. You have to be doing that. You have got to set aside some time to illustrate the path that you're going down, else you're going to do exactly that. You're just going to sit there and spin wheels and you're going to say, I really need to get a new job. And then you're doing nothing towards it, right? It's unbelievable. And then weeks pass, and you're like, I really need to get a new job. And these things just keep happening. It's craziness. But when you put it down in front of a group of bros, it becomes real, right? I can check on you. You can check on them and say, okay, so it's been a couple days. What have you done to get this new job? Right? There's accountability there. You don't want
oh
to be
yeah,
shamed in front of everybody. Like, I said this was important, but I've done nothing. Right? That's worthy of a call out right there. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And like, so like accountability to the wife, accountability to the family. You can say that's there, but like the reality is if you don't do that thing, if you don't take steps to get that job, there's really no one you have to answer to. You just get stuck in that same route. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
yeah,
so what's the worst that happens is you're stuck in the familiar. You're stuck in that comfort zone. Nothing has changed, everything is known. The worst thing that happens is, well, nothing, right? And so there's really no drive to change. But if you fail in front of the dudes, that's embarrassing to say that, yeah, this is what I want to do and I've done jack nothing. That's embarrassing. That sucks. So that accountability layer there is important because as the head of the household, you don't have to answer to anybody. So you actually get after it, right? And so that's kind of another is being surrounded by dudes that are getting after it. right? Because that's contagious. You know, you say, "Hey, I want to do this," and then you log in each morning and you're like, "Oh, well, this dude's doing this dude's doing this dude's taking action." That's contagious.
Yeah.
As a person, especially if you're a non-action taker, you look at that and it takes away all your excuses, right? So it's like you see other family guys, other husbands and fathers getting after it. They're busy, and you can even see what they're busy with, right? You know, we got a work channel, designated career. People are like, man, I'm getting smoked today, or I need to focus, or whatever it is. You can see the struggles that everybody else is going through, but then you can also see where, well, crap, he got up early and got after it. His workout's out of the way. You know, bro number one already got his in, bro number two already got his in. You think you're going to skip that workout when you watch other dudes getting after it? No, it's just not going to happen. I mean, if it does, you're gonna get shamed, so, know that going forward. But yeah, that's one thing I wanted to add on is, if it's that simple, why aren't you doing it? Anybody can do this. Anybody can do what
Yeah.
we do in the Better Brotherhood, but they don't have that added layer of accountability and shame if they don't do the
Yeah.
thing, right? So, yeah, and then here's the other thing is, setting goals is simple, nothing new, right? But you wouldn't believe how many people, number one, like I said, aren't doing it or doing it wrong. We've been taught forever ago how to set goals. I mean, I think most of us have. I don't know. Maybe we haven't. I mean, there's a whole host of things schools not teaching us, right? But so a goal, should be actionable. There should be a very specific action item. Should be specific. Should be measurable. Should have some time component to it, right? Um, we know these things, and I'll still see things pop up even in the brotherhood. We'll see things like, do this thing, and if you do that independently, there's no one to come in and say, "Well, I see your goal, but let's work on that. Let's dive a little bit further." It's very vague. And the more vague the goal is, the less likely you are to hit it. So let's refine that. Let's break that into daily steps. And that's something that we're very good about in the Better Brotherhood is goals, actionable steps, daily action, consistency, stacking wins, all of these things. So that's just kind of one of those things where you may not know that you need help in that area, right?
Yeah.
And so, as I always say, you don't know what you don't know, so rely on a bro, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, there was an interesting point I wanted to bring up with that as well, as far as the accountability and kind of like it's nice to be able to have a collective of minds that can all look at the same problem from different angles. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, if you're just siloed, you just have horse blinders. Like you only see it from here, and you could just be missing this massive red flag or something that you didn't even see or overlook. And if you have a collective of men who are just really getting after it and just honestly working to improve their lives and the lives of their families day to day, they they're very different caliber of men than just the regular drones that are just sitting there binging Netflix every day, and they're going to see major pitfalls in your goals and or the ways you approach them. And it's nice to be able to have uh honestly like a badass sounding board, like, hey, look, I want to do this. And you mentioned, like, all right, let's break it down. It'll take X amount of time. You have the capacity to accomplish it in that time. If not, okay, extend it a little further or shrink it, or like, dude, you could do that today. Why did you say you're going to do that next week? Just the being able to call out each other on the procrastination and the nonsense that you get so attuned to in day to day life because you're like, oh, I mean, no one's gonna notice if I don't do this for another week. So it's nice to be able to like, dude, just go do it. Like I've had so many different conversations where like, yeah, I wanna start this thing next Sunday. I'm like, start it today. What what are you waiting for, man? There's literally no reason to wait. It just that part drives me crazy. That's not a group thing. That's just a general men thing I've noticed. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing this thing here in a couple weeks. Like,
That's
do it,
contagious. You see
do
other
it right
dudes
now.
getting after it, and you have to ask the question, why aren't I? Right? It takes
Yeah,
away the excuses. You see other dudes getting after it, and like you said, a collective of guys getting after it. That's powerful.
yeah, man.
And yeah, so that's one of the things. We run into a little bit of a resistance sometimes too when people they want to get in a group and like, oh, well, it's paid now, I don't want to do it. Well, I'll tell you what, any elite group is going to have a little bit of a barrier to entry. Why? You got to keep the trolls out, right? Let me tell you something. Go on Twitter, go on the Facebook, go somewhere and talk about your goals and what you want to do. See how that goes for you. You're going to get smashed, kicked around, doubted, all of these things, right? But if there's
Yeah.
a little barrier to entry, now you've weeded out the trolls, and instead you're talking to a group of guys just like you that we're trying to optimize our life every single day. We're trying to get better across five pillars, every single day and balance those things. It's guys just like you. So when you say I want to do this thing, there's no laughing, there's no doubting. There may be some criticism. You're like, I don't know if that's the best route. Like let's think about this for a second. But most of all, you're going to get encouragement, even if that encouragement is away from the thing because it seems like a bad idea to the collective.
Yeah.
That just saves you a whole bunch of time. You know what I'm saying? So there is a barrier to entry. It is a paid group, but that weeds out the trolls. That keeps everybody genuine too. Everybody just genuinely wants to help. That also, it kind of what do you say, like certain caliber of men in these walls, right? It's just like I said, it's not just Joe nobodies that are here for who the hell knows what reason. We're all here because we've realized that we're looking for more, and we've all realized the benefit of helping each other. We're all here to help each other and see each other win. We're not here just for our own selfish reasons. Maybe you logged in and you're just like, hey, I'm just going to take as much value from this as I can. And I guarantee, I mean, I've done that in men's groups. Hey, I'm just going to see what can I take. Dude, give it like 2 days. You're in there providing value. You're trying to help other people. It's just what men do. We try to help each other and pull each other up. And that may not be what you see in the world today. Uh, that's all the more reason to get your ass in this group. That's what it's about. And it's so cool to see. I mean, I've seen guys like, yeah, I'll hop in. I mean, I don't really know what value I'm going to provide. Dude, everybody's got value. And it's just so funny. Even these people that like doubt it, dude, just a couple days in, they're already spitting value, just dropping wisdom. It's actually kind of funny to watch, to be honest with you. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. I mean, just from our perspective, seeing the dynamic of the before and after they jump over the wall. It's like they have all these doubts. Like, oh, it almost seems intimidating. Like, oh, there's just like this elite group of men over here. Like, what am I going to be able to provide to these guys? And then they jump over and they see some area within one of the pillars. They're like, oh, I can see this guy doesn't really know fully what he's talking about. So let me bring in all this collective knowledge that I've individually gained and built up throughout my life and let me drop it on these guys. And it's such a cool thing to see the confidence emerge from some of the guys in there just because of that specific thing. Like they kind of feel, I mean, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, but this is my interpretation of the conversations. But they feel like isolated and kind of like I'm just kind of just like a normal guy throughout day to day life. And then when they're surrounded by elite men, they're like, oh, all right, I'm actually much better than like the average Joe out here, and I have so much more to contribute in one of these specific areas. Like I'm heads and tails above these guys in this specific thing. And the best part of that is like I'm gonna raise them all up to my level at this. And oh, he's way better at this. I'm gonna follow what he's saying over here. And then like it just collectively just keeps stacking and stacking, and every single pillar is just we just grow together. It's I mean it's I keep saying it, but you have to experience it. It sounds ridiculous in a way, but it's something once you experience it, like there's no turning back.
So that's some of the hesitation is like guys can see it as like, well, this is weird, a virtual group of friends. Am I paying for friends? What am I doing here? No, you're paying. You're, I mean, you're gonna get friends. Don't get me wrong. You're gonna get friends all over the world. I know guys all over the world that I talk to, and it's awesome. It's one of the pillars is friendships. And so, I mean, and it's not just you're gonna come in here and make friends with the guys in here. Um, one of our goals at Better is to make guys with magnetism. Okay, we want to encourage you to drop the bucket of crabs that you're currently in, drop those people who are not supporting you, not adding value in your life, and start speaking your truth and being authentic and attracting in your locality um, the people that are going to have a positive impact in your life. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that like they're just not authentic, and that
Right.
takes reps, it takes practice. So use the better group as a practice room. Come in here, start speaking your mind. We're probably, I mean, the venues which where you can be authentic are just like slowly dying off. I feel like you can't even be authentic anymore. I mean, shoot, most people aren't even authentic on social media, which is virtual for crying out loud. But this is definitely an area, we've got a group where you can be authentic. And here's what happens, right? You get in this group, I'm totally sidetracked. I'm off the rails. I'm digressing for whatever my point was. But you get in this group
Love it.
and you start being authentic. You start carrying that out into the real world. You're going to get used to being authentic and genuine with the dudes in this group. Give it a month or two, and you're just going to be like, wow, I didn't realize how friggin' tired I was of mincing words and not being myself. And then you start carrying that out into the real world. And by default, what starts happening is you make little slip ups that are like authentic, and you just start speaking your mind. And you're like, oh boy, it's happening. We're dropping the useless people and we're picking up the valuable people. And it's not even something that you like intentionally do. I found that like after my first men's group, it just happened. You were just out there doing it. And by speaking that truth, letting it seep into your life, you just people realize that. You walk into a room like, so a lot of times like my wife would have a lot of kids events and stuff. She had jobs where she was working with groups of kids and stuff, and you'll have parties and stuff, and you'll see some dudes go to these things, the Halloween party, the Christmas party, all the dudes just hang on the wall as like the extra wheel, you know what I mean? And it's like, but you get a guy in there who's open, approachable, authentic, and you see that dude, if you're a wall hanger, right? You're like, man, that dude's having a good time. I'm just sitting here on the wall like a bum. And like something in your head is like, man, I want to be more like that dude. But guess what? That dude's open and approachable. You can go talk to him. He might come and talk to you. Like you can see that, right? A guy can register that a
Yeah.
guy's open and authentic. And if that's you, and I know that because I was a guy with social anxiety. I was that wall, right? And so I realized that that's just not a good way to be. And so that's something we work on here. If that's something you need to work on, you need to be in this group. You need to start speaking your mind. And like I said, you want to put a practice ground in here. Come on in. We'll be straight with you. You be straight with us, and we'll work on that authenticity.
Yeah, it's funny. There was a scenario playing through my head while you were talking about this of how, and I don't necessarily relate to it because I've always felt like I've been fairly authentic, but I can think of periods in my life where I felt like I was kind of masking myself and just trying to fit in with the average, which is funny to think about now of how poor it is. But yeah, it's just funny to think about. So when you do like start getting your confidence and getting your authenticity and the way you speak and interact with people, it's funny to see like the drop off of so-called friends in your day-to-day life of people that they just can't relate to you anymore. But it's funny, like it's a simultaneous shift of losing the losers, for lack of a better word, and then like while you during the during your analogy of the what's the word, the party. When you're at a party, say you're being authentic, speaking your mind, having a good time, those those ears perk up of other authentic men too. So they're like, oh, it's kind of like a homing beacon in a way. And you said the word perfectly. It's magnetic. Like the ears are going to be dropping of all the people that aren't actually providing value for you. They are the crabs in the bucket. They are the leeches. They're going to stop listening to you while simultaneously the other dudes in there are like, oh, this dude's awesome. Like I can see a lot of great qualities. There's a lot of things I can learn. There's a lot of things I can teach this guy, and it's a cool shift. It's almost like a even trade off of dropping the waste in your life while simultaneously picking up things that are going to elevate yourself. It's cool. I've seen it personally for myself.
Yeah, I laugh because like so the guys in the better group, we're a different breed, right? So we're the guys that are looking for more, right? But when you go to a setting like that and you kind of start talking about more, like you said, it just by default perks up the other guys that are like us, they see that and they gravitate towards, and it's almost like you're not gonna you can't always find these guys just by browsing a room or whatever, because they may have walked into that room and said, look at all these bums. It's not even worth me being authentic. I'm just going to friggin' ride this out and go home and provide value in the better group. Right. But and in that case, you're not going to see that person. Right. But if another person starts speaking up and being authentic, then that wakes that person up like, oh, there's a real one right there, right? And you go over and talk to them and, maybe talk about what you're trying to build or whatever it is. And dude, by the end of it, you walk out with another friend that's going to add value in your life, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
the magnetism is cool. And that's what we're trying to do is build guys with magnetism. We're trying to build leaders. We're trying to, it sounds silly to say, but we're trying to fix the world one guy at a time is really what we're doing.
yeah,
And we probably don't talk about that goal enough as an overarching theme. So the end goal is to build guys with magnetism such that they can go out in their communities and do the same thing, build other guys with magnetism. And we start with the man, we'll work on that man, then we hit the family, he impacts his family. Then once that's good, you start in the community level, and then we get a bunch of pockets of communities with solid dudes. And dude, I mean, it's way on down the line, but that ends up being world changing if we can execute, right? So
yeah.
that's kind of the big picture, is just start with one guy at a time.
Real quick, bros, the only way this podcast grows is if you share it. Drop a rating, send it to a brother who needs it. That's how we build better men. Yeah, and it seems silly whenever we would like if you think about it conceptually, like how are a group of men going to change the world? But at the same time, that's exactly the world that we're in right now is because so many people are just like, I can't do anything about this. So I'll just sit here in my comfort with my job that I hate, but it gives me money. So whatever, I don't hate it enough to change. I'll sit here and eat my junk food and watch all my Netflix and all that stuff. Cause really, what am I going to do? And we're here to tell you, you can. You absolutely can change, but it will take time, sure, and it starts at the foundational level, kinda like I said earlier with fitness, you have to get the basics right. We have to start with the men. You said it perfectly of the men start with the family, and that's basically like a small microcosm of exactly what we're doing. Once we fix one family, then it just kinda balloons out a little bit, and then a little bit, and then there's exponential growth, and then at the end of the day, there's a better world, right?
I see how we got to the point where we are now as men that failed to hold the line. As a
Mhm.
collective, we failed to hold the line. Good men are staying silent, and I get all that, but how do we reverse that course? By building leaders, right? By building men who will hold the line. And so, unfortunately, I don't know of a way to do that to every man out there as a collective. The only way I know how is one guy at a time, sharing wisdom with one another, and building line holders and authentic leaders. So yeah, I want to go back to something we were talking about, goals, and then we digressed way over to this other area. We were talking about goal setting. I want to hit that for a second. Um, so in just setting the goals and making them specific, we also help guys with clarity, because there will be guys that come into the group and they say, okay, I'm coming into this group because I want accountability on this thing, right? And then we sort of watch them operate day to day, and we chat with them, and we realize that, okay, he said he wanted this, his actions are doing this. Clarity. Clarity is important. Okay. I can see guys, they'll come in a group, they say, I want this. And what it turns out that you thought you wanted that, but maybe you didn't, right? Maybe you really thought you wanted to be like, I don't know, jacked out of your mind or whatever it is, but your actions aren't showing that on a consistent basis. And we're trying to figure out why, but the why of it is because you're not really motivated to do it. That's not actually what you want. And so we got to steer you back. It's easy. So it's easy for guys to chase shiny objects, right? And I see it all the time. Hey, Barrett's Jack. I want that, right? But then you go to do it and you just struggle no matter what to do that thing. And it's like, no, you're just chasing a shiny object. That's not what you really want. What you want is over here. Let's stop. Let's pump the brakes. Let's figure out your purpose. What are you doing? What are you building? You're out here, there's a lot of guys just flailing out. They don't even know what they're doing. And that
Yeah.
is where the shiny object chasing comes in. They don't know
Oh,
what they're doing. They're not being true to themselves. They don't know what their real motivations are. So they're just going to go after what Barrett's doing or what Don's doing or what some other guy's doing. That's a real thing. So when we talk about goals, we need to talk about clarity. We need to talk about what you're doing, what you truly want. And then we need to keep you from chasing those shiny objects and doing what you think and doing what other people are doing, what you think is going to bring you satisfaction. So clarity on what you should be doing, clarity and reminders on what you should not be doing is every bit as important. And so we do weekly check-ins. We'll set a monthly goal. That's how we start this thing. What can I expect when I join the Better group? Well, you jump in. There's a Slack group that you get in. Post an intro. Tell us why you're here, what brought you here, and then we're going to work on some goals. Okay, we're going to set monthly goals in the beginning of the month. Do a weekly check-in where we talk about how we're doing. We give ourselves a score 1 through 10. We talk about how we're doing in the 5 pillars: family, fitness, faith, friendship, family. Did I say that? Finance? I don't know.
finance.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. Anyway, we talk about that. And then we speak to our goals every month. And what does that do? That keeps you on track, right? That keeps you from going off and chasing these things that other guys are doing. You said, each week you revisit, oh, at the beginning of the month, I said I was doing this. I ain't done shit to do that. So let's get back on the wagon and go and do that thing. And not only can you see it, we can see it, right? So we can
Yeah.
say, yeah, you're definitely not doing the shit that you said was important to you. So let's either course correct, change goals, pivot, whatever it is. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that clarity component. And it's important to set goals, just as important to stay on track with those, man. It's so easy. You get blitzed with social media, and next thing you saw some guy making billions of dollars, and you're like, all right, forget fitness. I need to make $1 billion. Let me go do that thing. And it's so, dude, as guys, it's so easy. Like, I swear we've all got like an ADD component in there somewhere. That's just like, no, let's go do this. That looks cool. But no, it's real. You gotta stay on track, and we'll keep you there.
I mean, social media itself is just it's everyone's highlight reel, which is I mean, we've talked about that several times and we could speak to it ad nauseum, so it's not worth digressing into, but it is funny to see. I mean, I've fallen victim to it several times throughout my whole life. Like, oh, okay, well, I want to do this, and then I'll be pretty solid with that for a couple months, and then honestly, some things just get boring. Like it whatever. Some things get boring. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll still kind of want to do this, but then I'll shift over here a little bit. And it's funny to see. It would be cool to see like a trajectory of my life because it would just be like this meandering path throughout the woods. I bet. And it's a little bit better the last 5 or so years. It's a little bit more straight trajectory, but there's still slight deviations
Be
now. And
It's never
yeah,
going to be linear, right? But
yeah,
I laugh because even with anything you start and you're trying to build, it's like, you get this idea and there's like this dopamine rush. You have this idea, right? And then it's like, all right, you're talking about the idea. The dopamine's going up and up and up. And then it's like, that seems a little bit silly. It's hard to start, whatever. So it starts coming down a little bit. And then you run into a bro or something like that. And like, yeah, we'll just do this next step. Like, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. So you start going back up. And then there's going to be a point where it gets hard. There's going to be a point where you hit a wall where you're questioning your decision. This is silly. This will never work, whatever it is.
yeah,
And of staying at it versus quitting, there's a point right there where that could be the make or break, right? And your bros can help keep you there. You can jump in the group, hey, I'm trying to build this thing and it's just not going my way. I'm thinking about quitting. And then you can have somebody say, well, I've been in that situation. Let me tell you, you need staying power. Sometimes Sometimes it's accomplishing something, sometimes it's just treading water and staying at it and being consistent until you break through that, plateau or whatever it is you're at. So, yeah, there's definitely a point there where it's going to seem silly and you're going to feel like quitting. And, maybe your bros tell you, yeah, you gave it the honest shot, but I don't know that it's going to go. Let's pivot or whatever. But soundboards are important, man. I don't think guys realize how important soundboards are. Right?
Yeah.
I was reading a statistic the other day, is in a book, which, by the way, is awesome that we're all reading books in there too. So, like, we got a book vault, like a library type thing, and I do this a lot, dude. I'll power through books and just drop wisdom from whatever book I'm reading. We all get to share in that, right? Bunch of dudes reading books, dropping wisdom. We all get to share in that. But anyway, so that's something cool about the brotherhood too. But I try not to digress because I got the ADD, right? But that was basically like a lot of guys, their wife is their only friend.
Yeah.
Now, so your soundboard, your wife is somebody who is not a man, right? They're wired completely different than you. You're a risk taker. You're seeking adventure. You're like, I want to do this. I want to change the world. I want to build this thing. And your wife is over here like safety, security. Don't take that risk, right? And I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe some wives aren't like that, but generally that's how they're wired, right? Hey, we're good now. Just keep the course, you know. So you got to watch that. You need bros as your soundboard. You need men as a soundboard, and even better if you've got men with experience. You and I are great in finance. We're literally fitness coaches for crying out loud. We got studs that are in faith. We got. I mean, we're both leading families. We're both men of magnetism. Like it just we're not just other guys. Like we're other guys that bring experience to the table. And this is
Yeah.
a problem I see. Like I love church small groups. They're awesome. I love fitness groups like your F3s and all that stuff. But all these groups, they stop short of going deep. And I talk about this sometimes in my tweets and all that. Like your church group, all right, you're meeting on the sole component of similar faith, right? And that's your similar shared idea, whatever it is. So y'all get together and talk about that. Well, a lot of times it doesn't go deeper. A lot of times it's like, all right, that's cool. How are you leading the family? How's finances? How's life? You got any, thing you're struggling with? Can we help? A lot of times that question isn't even asked. But if it is, who's your subject matter expert over there? Right? Is there anybody qualified to help you with finances? Is there anybody qualified to help you lead your family? Is there anybody qualified to make you a man of magnetism? Maybe not. Maybe there is, and that's cool. A lot of times not. That's why a group such as ours, it's like, yeah, we're going to go deeper. Okay, we're not just meeting on one aspect of life, first of all. We're diving into 5 pillars. We're helping balance all of those. And we got guys with experience in all of that who are going to help with that. Right. So that's a little bit of
Yeah.
a problem. Like, this is very different than a small church group or a fitness group. A lot of times, your gym bro, the guy you meet at the gym, a lot of times it's just a single serving friend, as they say, or a single, a one dimensional friendship. Hey, let's just
Yeah.
meet based on fitness, and then we're never going to take it deeper than that. No, we go deep here. We go deep as you want. Nothing, and that's important for guys when we talk. Nothing's off the table here. I don't care if you want to talk
Yeah.
about intimate details of your life. That's all on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's get better. Right.
And that ties in with the barrier to entry too, and that's exactly why we can't just allow every person who wants to improve their lives in, because there is that depth of vulnerability, and there is that some of the stuff that's been said in there, like, you don't want that leaked out, and, I mean, it's not leaked as in, "Oh, that's gonna ruin that person's life," but, like, that's very vulnerable stuff that as men, it's very difficult to bring to the surface, especially if there's potentially thousands of other dudes who are going to read through that, and someone might know you and they might use that against you to some degree. And it's nice to be able to put up that wall, that barrier of, dude, only select people get to come into this. And it's a nice barrier, I guess.
Thinking about, like, if you don't understand the value proposition, go post your problems on social media. Go to Reddit. Go to Twitter. Go to Substack. Whatever it is. Go talk. Go put on there that you've got a porn addiction. See how that goes. Right.
Yeah.
Pay your money, come in here and see how that goes. You've got confidentiality. You've got guys that have been through that. You've got guys that can help. You've got guys that want to help. We want to build, not tear down, right? So if you don't understand the value proposition, go start posting your problems on the internet. Let me know how that works out for you.
That's such a funny way to put it.
It is
Uh,
what it is, man. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. A lot of guys don't understand the value proposition here. So I'm just trying to kind of debunk all that and demystify it. Like, well, here's your other alternative, right? And I guess your other alternative is sit there and deal with it. Don't get help. Don't get
yeah,
help. Ask nobody and just sit there with your problems. Have fun with that. Anyway,
yeah, and
I
then
digress.
a couple weeks later, you're just gonna be sitting there like, man, I don't feel good, and I don't know why, and I don't know. It's been so long that I felt this way, and like, yeah, I mean, I've personally experienced that. I've gone through those cycles, and that's because I didn't have an outlet like this. I had a couple close friends, sure, but there wasn't the level of vulnerability or I guess from my side of it, I was okay and open to speak about it, but it wasn't reciprocated. So that was the biggest problem with any of those is that I'm always willing to speak about anything that's on my mind, good, bad, whatever. And I've noticed before the better group that it was just all like bouncing off people. Like they'd be like, "Oh man, that sucks. That's tough to hear," and then that was the end of the conversation. Like, dude, I kind of just told you I don't want to be alive anymore, and you saying, "Oh, that sucks." Like, maybe I guess you're not really my friend. Maybe I guess you don't care enough. I don't know what it is, but I mean, thankfully, I'm not at that place in my life anymore. But it's it would be very interesting to see I mean, we haven't had that conversation in the group yet, but it would be interesting to see the different dynamic from my perspective of if someone was, and maybe they are, they just haven't brought it up yet. If someone was at that place where things were just seemingly overwhelming and they couldn't handle it anymore and they brought it to the group, I would be curious to see. And I'm pretty sure it would be a significant improvement of reciprocity of dude, we got to talk about this one. You can't just drop that in here and no one's going to say anything. Like that's the benefit of having such a collective of elite men that not only are getting after it themselves, but like the reciprocity. Like we want to help you also. Like we're not just here to say, look how great we are, look at how jacked we are, look at how rich we are, look at how successful we are. Because one, none of us are any of those things really. I mean, kind of, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Let's be humble. Let's be humble, guys. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try
No, but you
to.
you brought up a good point in that, and I want to ask the question: Who's checking on you? Right? A lot of guys,
Mm,
a lot of guys can get low for a long time and never know when it started. Right? So I think
mm,
about our weekly check-in every week. We post a check-in with a score 1 out of 10. How you doing in general? Right? If a guy's coming in at a 1, that's a red flag for us. That's a red flag for everybody. Hey, what the hell's going on, right? But the
yeah.
truth is, guys can sit at a 1 and a 2 out of 10 for a very long time and just bottle it up because nobody gives a shit what guys are going through, right? So you just sit there with it and you know, things could have been going great and then at some point they took a turn to a 1 or a 2 and you've been there for some weeks and you're like, when did this even happen? How long have I been here? But if you can get ahead of it with a weekly check-in, we'll keep you from sitting at a 1 or 2 from however many weeks, months, depression. Let's stop this before it gets to the I want to end my life part, right? If we
Yeah.
get ahead of it and we get proactive with it and keep everything in balance and on track, we can avoid that whole situation altogether. So that weekly review is critical. And so back to the point I made when we first started this chat, can you do that on your own? Yeah, you can. Who's doing it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Some people do it with a journal, and that's awesome. But if you miss that day of journaling or you miss that weekly review, what happens? Nothing. Nobody's
Yeah.
checking on you. You can just miss it the next week and the next week and the next week, and here comes that downward spiral. So, and it's like you'd mentioned like you told somebody about it, and they're like, okay, whatever. I kind of that reminded me of like a bro group chat. So a lot of guys will have like a bro group chat going on, and what generally I see happen, what's happened to me, oh my gosh, seems like 100 times. You get a cool bro chat going for like a
Yeah.
week, and then it fizzles out because there's nobody at the top keeping that going, and so it'll just fizzle out. And there are some days you're feeling low and you're like, well, I don't really want to share this low point with them. So I'm just not going to share. And then maybe somebody else going through the same thing simultaneously and it just fizzles out. Right.
Yeah.
Well, the better group is like a bro chat that's just forever going. It's just always going. It's always going to be going. There's chats going on 24/7. There's always something going on in every one of our lives. We're talking. I mean, even today in the group, we're talking family issues and getting kids to behave a little bit better. And
Yeah.
if you screwed up as a parent, apologize to them. Things like this. I mean,
Yeah.
I love when we're in the group. I laugh. We've talked about it, is like the morning times, especially when dudes are getting after it. It's just fire in this group. It's just there's so much going on, and we touch on so many things. And then like work hours, it's funny. It gets a little bit quieter, and then the evenings pick up. It's so cool to just have chats going on 24/7 about everything. And so another thing is like in terms of the bro chats, here's a question I got to ask for anybody watching this: who is keeping you sharp? Sharp. Who is keeping you challenged? Who's keeping you engaged in life? Who's keeping you from just sitting there and stagnating and doing the day to day coast thing? If you're not surrounded by, I mean, there's a few of us that are just driven beyond driven, and we all know somebody like that who's just an ass kicker, right? But
Yeah.
other than those, like I don't know, very small percentage of people. Who's telling you to press on and that, hey, you can do bigger, you can do better. There's more to this life than what you're doing. Who's challenging you without being surrounded by a group of bros? That's probably nobody. And what are the repercussions for not chasing more? Nothing. You just sit there in
Nothing.
comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, do you even want to stay sharp? So who's keeping you sharp? Let's ask that question. Do you even want to stay sharp? Do you even want to be challenged? This group is for those guys that want to be challenged. We want more. We're not just sitting here flailing day to day coasting. I call us like the anti coast group. I hate that shit. I hate to see coasting, man. I mean, so I've been doing like some form of a men's group or accountability group for years now. I ain't coasted. We got like intentional rest days where it's like, hey, need a break or whatever. There ain't been coasting in years, dude. I hate it. I can't stand coasting, dude. And
Yeah.
so, jump in here and get surrounded by a group of guys that hates coasting, right? Just always making strides somewhere.
Yeah, and there's an interesting point with what you were talking about as far as does anyone challenge you? And it ties in with what you said earlier about how you can find these like individual friends, like one dude's really into fitness, one dude might be a financial broker or something along those lines. And maybe they're really getting after it into that area and they kind of they don't hound you, but they ask you like, "Hey, why aren't you lifting today?" or whatever. And you're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." But it's interesting. Have you ever brought those kind of people together and it's funny to see how they kind of falter and fall apart when the other guys, like, let's say the fitness guy is not attacking, they're talking to the finance guy, like, dude, you worked out. He's like, I haven't worked out in like a decade. And that's the massive impact and benefit of having the brotherhood like this is because we are approaching every single possible pillar in life. We don't just have the one we're not just a fitness group. Like obviously fitness is important. It's a foundational thing. We're not just a finance group. Yes, money is important. You need it to pay the bills, to live. But if you're only focusing on one of those things, or like if your one friend is only talking to you about finance or fitness, then you're letting so many different areas of your life just crumble because either you're only focusing on that one thing or you're kind of just dabbling here and there. And again, that's why the whole collective is nice because we're like, dude, you haven't you haven't talked about your family in a while. Like, what's going on with their some like if you're not talking about it, there's usually something going on. So let's dig into that a bit. Or similarly with any of the other pillars, like you haven't mentioned any of your financial stuff in a bit. Are you doing good? Maybe you're fine. No big deal. Just wanted to check in. And it's nice to be able to
Point
have
about that is like I said with dudes, we have a tendency if we're not doing well in that area to not talk about it,
oh
right?
yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
like, what do you talk about with all your friends? The stuff you're doing well in, right? The stuff that's interesting. Well, who's talking to you about the stuff that you're sucking at? Right? Who's telling you, "Hey, talk to me. Hey, each week I want you to talk to me about how you're doing about this stuff." And so the key is balance. I had a concept a while. I wrote a blog way back called the new 1%, where I said the 1% is no longer the rich elites that run the world or whatever it is. I said that the new 1% is the guy that's above average in fitness, finances, family, faith, and friendships. You don't got to be a bodybuilder. Maybe we can't make you rich. Maybe we can't make you a strongman or a bodybuilder, whatever it is. We can definitely get you above average in all of those areas and not only get you there, but keep it balanced so that you're not imploding, right? A lot of times we'll take what we're good at, be it fitness, be it finances, we're great at providing a paycheck. So we double down in that area. We're like, dude, I'm going to work overtime, whatever, just feed my family all the money. Meanwhile, you're not leading your family. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
there's a potential that's going to blow up on you. That is going to blow up on you. So by
Yeah. See it
balancing
all
all
the
these
time.
things and making you speak to it, we prevent those blowups. And I saw a tweet the other day where someone had said something where it was like they said like balance is a myth. If you want something, something else has to suffer. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't believe that. I disagree wholeheartedly. I mean, I've been doing this for years, balancing everything. Barrett's been doing it for years. I see guys in the group daily balancing all of these things. Now, no, that doesn't mean that you can build maybe you can't build a Fortune 500 company, but you can certainly do well for you and your family. And I'd even back it up. You can build a Fortune 500 company while leading a family, staying fit, all of these things.
Yeah.
Balance is the key. You can go hard in that area, but make sure to come back and check on your family. Make sure to check on your bros. Hit the gym once in a while. It may take a little longer, but we can do that. We can balance all of these things to keep them from slipping. And yeah, it's like a simple equation: time and energy, right? Hey, you're kicking ass over here. You've neglected this. Let's borrow a little bit of time and energy from here. Let's put it over here. And it doesn't have to be take it all, dude. Oh my gosh, I see guys do it all the time is like, all right, I'm going to take all my energy from here and dump it into family. No, you don't have to do that. You got to take some, but you don't got to
Yeah.
be a pendulum just swinging. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can take a little bit, put it over there, explain to your family, I'm trying to build this thing and all that. You might see a little bit of less of me. I'm going to start working out 5 days a week where I haven't before. So, you're going to see a little bit less of me, but I haven't forgotten about you. And I can show that through my actions. I'll come back and we'll do family time. We can balance it all, right? But
Yeah.
if you like, yeah, because a lot of dudes will be like, I'm going to start working out, and then they haven't been, and all of a sudden their family gets 5 hours less of them a week. That ain't the answer either. And so
Yeah.
if you're in the group and that's you, I'm going to encourage you. Don't just go light switch, cold turkey, like, hey, by the way, I'm going to start working out so you're going to see a lot less of me. And nobody ever says that. They just do it. And it's like some big shock when the family thing is dropped, right?
Yeah.
But no, you got to ease into that. You got to start with a half hour. Start with one day. Start with one workout. Scale it up. It's got to be tactfully done. A lot of the changes that we're making in our lives, they're not just us. If you've got a family, you've got to consider them and how that affects them, because otherwise you're going to go try to build the Fortune 500 company or build your level of fitness, and they're going to hate you for doing it because
Yeah.
you've just pulled
Absolutely.
their time, you've pulled yourself away from them to do this thing. That ain't the way. You've got to balance it. Now, if you're single, whatever, go do all the thing, put all your eggs in that basket and do what you want. But if you got a family, we it's going to take balance, and they need to understand that, and they need to know that they've not been forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, a good, analogy I thought of while we were talking about it is, it's very similar, like, life is very similar to asset allocations for investments, like, you can't just put everything into fitness or you can't just put all of your investments into one single thing. Sure, that might go up, that'll be great, but as soon as it tanks, you're just kind of screwed. So that's why you have to balance it out. So you got to put some money into bonds so that when the stocks tank, your bonds are going to go up, and it's just kind of an equilibrium. It's the exact same thing with all the pillars. Like, sure, if you have like a dedicated goal of I want to do a bodybuilding show, yeah, obviously you're gonna put a lot more allocation into the fitness for the duration of whatever you're doing for that particular event. But like normal day to day, you're not gonna want to spend 4 hours in the gym every day because your family bucket is gonna drop to basically nothing. Or your faith bucket. You're not going to be able to spend time in the word if you're just in the gym for 4 hours every day. So I completely disagree with you as well as far as balance is a myth. And I feel like that's that was just some 20-year-old life coach trying to get clients nonsense.
A little bit more on how the group works too. I want to touch on that too. Is like we do daily intentions. We wake up every day and we put what we're going to do. So you did that weekly review and you're like, oh man, this little area here is suffering. So what do you do come Monday morning? You write your daily intentions out and you post those to the group. And it's like, hey, make sure I hit that family bucket today. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm building, I'm gonna take some time away from that. We're gonna go to the pumpkin farm or whatever the heck it is, or I'm gonna spend one-on-one time with each of my kids, whatever it is. You hit that, and so that's a way to keep it all balanced, right? We've got monthly
Yeah,
goals, we've got weekly reviews, we've got daily intentions. You go on and post what you're going to do, and you've got to own that. If you don't do that, if it's come to your attention, the guy's attention that you need some family time, do the weekly review, and then you write that down as something you're going to do, and you miss that, that's like a giant red flag. It's like, hey, I know your intent was to do this, but you missed it. Don't drop it off the radar. You're going to have to hit that tomorrow. You're going to have to own that in front of the dudes. What happened that you couldn't get that done? Don't miss twice. That's one of
yeah.
the, I laugh at platitudes. I'm going to get derailed, but I laugh at platitudes. So platitudes are great out there on social media. We can see all of the things, get uncomfortable, build discipline, do all of the platitudes are great. What's good about the Better Group is we go beyond the platitudes. We go situational, case by case, right? I did this. I have this problem. Okay, let's jump in and analyze your personal situation, right? I take it just like workouts. You'll see a ton of workout advice,
Mm,
platitudes or whatever. It's just generic stuff. And you'll think, okay, I'm going to go do that. And then you get to realizing, oh, there's a hole there. There's something I don't understand. Um, you go deeper. You get to go deeper into it with the Better Group. Like literally just yesterday, progressive overload. That's a nice platitude. That's just general advice and workout. Progressive overload, right? And
yeah,
guys are out there maybe thinking they're doing it or whatever. And they're like, well, let me just ask a question. Like, am I doing this right? And, we can have a conversation on what that needs to look like. How best do we track that? How do you know you're making progress? I mean, some people are trying progressive overload and they're not even tracking it. And it's like, no, you have to track that. It needs to be measurable. You need to know. But the platitudes don't cover everything. Okay. That's the point
yeah,
I'm trying to get at, is the platitudes don't cover everything. So you got to dive deeper. And if you're getting your platitudes offline, off the socials, from some guy with 300,000 followers, you don't exactly have the chance to go in and say, hey, Anon, guy that I don't know, guy with 300 followers, can you take time out of your day to answer my question? No, that's generally not going to happen. They're posting these platitudes just for likes and whatever the heck, and they don't really
mm,
care about your own personal situation. If you got questions, you need somewhere deeper to go. So yeah, I know I digress pretty hard there. If you have any idea where I left off, oh, I was talking daily intentions. Yeah. Um, I don't know. It kind of wraps into that, because if you're failing to apply one of those and you're failing to hit a goal, those daily intentions let us see that. If you miss something once, twice in a row or whatever, it's like, okay, there's something bigger going on. Either this isn't important to you, or there's something has to be changed because you keep missing this thing. So let's go and take a look at that. So, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say on the daily intentions. That's part of what we do here is post daily.
Yeah.
We take ownership for the things we say we're going to do, because that's what a good man does. He does what he says he's going to do.
If what we're saying hits home, don't just listen. Join us, bro. Go to www.menmadebetter.com and step into the brotherhood. That's www.menmadebetter.com. We'll see you soon. And there's another, I think, awesome layer to the daily intentions part, and it's the higher tiered daily accountability. Where, let's say, again, the bodybuilding show as an example. Let's say you want to do a contest prep or something, and you're struggling. You tried the daily thing every day for a couple weeks, and you're still just not really gaining traction on it. The next tier of that is where you basically just have Don and I spamming you, hounding you every single day, and we will hold you accountable personally. Like it's literally us typing, talking shit to you every day, encouraging you in a friendly and not friendly way, depending on how you react and your attitude towards it. But that's uh that's one of my favorite parts of the brotherhood itself is that yes, we have this collective community of everyone getting after it, but if you're really honestly truly struggling and you're to the point where you've accepted that you can't do it even with the help of everyone in the group, that's where the next tier comes in, and that's when things get like really serious because like I said, it's literally Don and I. We'll get on a call with you. We'll just make sure that you accomplish whatever your goal is. We've seen awesome weight loss. We've seen incredible. I mean, just getting after it daily. I mean, something as basic as just I need to make sure I move. Some people struggle with just getting out and moving every day, and that accountability factor and that next level of it's a 2-on-1, a personal attention. You're not going to find that anywhere else out there for the price point that we have it at. And honestly, you guys are lucky like that
But
we
yeah,
value helping men so much that we keep it at such a approachable price point for people. It's funny.
it's not, I can promise you it ain't going to stay that way, right? So if
Oh
you're
yeah.
hesitant about it, it's not going to stay that way. I mean, the price structure too, I mean, just for anybody that knows or is thinking about it, as Barrett and I's time and energy is a finite resource, right? So as the group grows, so is the entry barrier, because we can't just continue pouring out. That doesn't scale. We cannot pour out to all of these people. Now, eventually, we do see chapter leaders coming into this. We're always interested. If you like what we're doing, if you think, hey, what they're doing resonates with me, I would love to build up guys in my community. We do have chapters available and an affiliate program where, hey, jump on in, start your own local chapter, get bros, right? That's cool. So that kind of goes what we talked about earlier, kind of where this thing's going. That's where this is going, right? We've got finite time and energy, so we'd like to enlist other people. It'd be awesome. So if you're interested in that, holler at us. We'll do that. But yeah, the higher tiered accountability, it's a higher price point. Like generally, we've got a collective in the community, and we're helping everybody here and there in general. But when you sign up for that higher one, you got Barrett and I one on one daily, checking in on you, making sure you're doing your stuff, figuring out a plan. Why did you miss? All of these things. I will call your phone if you're close to me. I will drive to your house. Like I'm not kidding. This is no bullshit here, right? So we take this very seriously, dude. I mean, I ain't. You're not failing. That's just all there is to it. So, um, the one other thing I wanted to talk about with your daily intentions too is when you jot out your intentions daily, you get ahead of your day. You're not out here reactive to your day. You're proactive.
Mm.
You're out here. You start your day saying, These are the things I need to do today," and you got a checklist, dude. I will tell you this. I actually just got done with a book, and it talked about how good guys are with checklists. It's incredible, and it never really even dawned on me. Dudes are great with checklists. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. So it's awesome to kind of see it in that sort of frame. But what it does is it helps you get in the mindset of, I'm not going to let shit happen to me today. I'm going to make shit happen. I've got to make this shit happen that I told the guys I'm going to do today. I got to get it in because I don't want to be seen as weak or shamed. Don and Barrett are going to shame me, and we will. That's not false, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of one of the cool things is it puts you in control of your day, and then you'll see habit books talking about owning the morning and all that stuff. That's true. I'm not going to crap on that at all. That's very true. And this helps you to do that by stating your intentions, getting ahead of it. Um, One of the things I see that habit books leave out, this is funny. Um, the habit books, some of them will mention like getting an accountability partner, but what they don't really speak of is how powerful a hell yeah from a bro can be, right? You post your workout, and just the bro being like, yeah, dude, nice job. That's powerful right there.
Right.
You do your thing. So if you're not working out for you is hard. It's hard to set that time. It's hard to get your mind to do that thing. And so, if you're doing this solo, you're like, all right, cool, I did the thing. All right, one win stack. But if you're doing it in a group and a bro is like, hell yeah, dude, respect, that's powerful, and it's powerful in
Yeah.
any regard. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I lost my temper with my family, but we talked about it, and I apologized. Hell yeah, dude, good work.
Yeah.
There is no man out there that doesn't like to be told good job, bro, from a man he respects, right? It's just that's
Yeah. It's like a societal trope these days of how tell one man a compliment, he'll remember it his whole life. Like that's how little that men get congratulated or complimented. We're just honestly always expected to just be that solid rock and just keep performing and stuff. And it's almost that's why I said it's kind of funny that it's like a societal trope of tell the man a compliment and he'll remember it his whole life. Like they have some memes where like the woman and the husband and wife are laying in bed, and she's like, I bet he's thinking about other women, and then the thought bubble over the guy is like, oh, I remember that third grade teacher said I did good once. Like it's true though. Like it doesn't get to meme level unless there's a pretty core foundation of truth behind it.
like we talked about a guy jumping in the group saying, what value can I provide? Can you see what someone's doing and say, hell yeah, bro? Yeah, we can all do that, right? So there's
Yeah.
value of you just being in the group and interacting with other people and providing encouragement and support. And that's how this whole thing works. Now, we don't ask that you provide value. You're here to take value. You're here for help. You're here to build habits and, change your life. And that's cool. We're here to help you do that. We're not going to ask you to provide value. I'm just here to tell you it's something that just happens. Guys cannot
Yeah.
be part of a group like this and not provide value. It doesn't happen. It does not happen.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
I
why this
haven't
thing
seen
works.
one single bro in the group who, and it's not even like an eventual thing. It's almost like a right off the bat because they'll see all the reactions, they'll see all the comments from everyone else, and that's the magnetism that we're talking about. When you see a bunch of dudes doing something awesome, and then another bunch of dudes who are also doing something awesome, saying, "Great job, man! That was awesome. That must have been hard," or "You overcame this," or "Keep pushing." Like you're just gonna immediately get sucked into that mentality, and that's unbelievably powerful for bringing that outside into your family and the rest of the community. I mean,
Is
I've
when
seen it personally. I've I've complimented dudes out in public now because of all of this, and the look on their
yes,
faces, the look on their faces, like it's something stupid, like, "Oh, dude, your calves look awesome right now." Something like that. Dude, I
the
made
park
that
and be
dude's
like, "Hey,
whole month,
bro, you're being
man.
a, you're being a great dad playing with your kids at the park, right?" Boom, it's
Yeah,
huge. You know what I mean?
it
Um,
is.
yeah, I'll say too. Like one of the other things that's huge is somebody posts like a family win, and then
Mm,
or they did something, and then the light bulb that goes on in other guys' head, like, oh, I want to steal that, I want to do that, or I've been short in that
mm.
area, so I'm going to take that and I need to incorporate that in my life. Now there's a difference between chasing shiny objects, saying I want to do what that guy's doing, versus recognizing a valid idea and be like, oh, well, maybe I do want to start jujitsu with my kid. You know what I mean? And then where were you weren't going to get that idea from somewhere else. You just weren't. It's just something that you glean from being surrounded by bros doing cool stuff, right? And it's always one thing I caution, and I know you've seen me do it in the group is like, hey, make sure before saying, hey, that's a cool idea, I'm going to run with it. Make sure that fits your goals. Make sure you're not just doing what a bro's doing. Make sure it fits your goals. And so that's something that we keep you on track. We keep you from chasing them shiny objects too. That's important for guys. I know. I know I hammered it. I beat it to death, but you guys, how important it is. I know y'all out there have done that. Like, hey, I want to steal that, and it's like, well, yes, but also make sure it fits. Um, what else was I going to say on that? Um, Bane, we've had guys that are a little bit more interested in faith, right? But they don't really know
Mm.
where to turn, how to start. So this is where dynamic to these groups because you can get better just by associating from the group, right? You see guys talking faith and posting what they're reading and all these things, and that'll rub off on you if you're curious at all. Believe you me, that's going to rub off on you, and you're like, oh, I see that. I want to dive deeper into that. But in that same vein, and I remind guys of this regularly in the group, on becoming better by association. And I've seen men's groups
Mm.
fail at this repeatedly. You're part of a men's group, you're like, awesome, this is cool, I'm getting better. But then you stop. At some point, you get stagnant and you think that you're getting better just because you're part of this group and you're conversing with these guys every day. No, 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 no. That's a
Yeah.
mistake. And I'm here to succeed where other groups has failed. I'm here to remind you on the regular that just because you're part of this group doesn't mean you're getting better daily if you're not putting in the work. There's always work to be done, right? But that's where
Yeah.
a lot of people just think, "Well, I'm part of the group, therefore I'm awesome. I'm elite. I'm getting better." No, I'm here to tell you, you're not. Yes, there are things you're going to pick up, by seeing other guys talk about stuff. You're always going to be learning this. I can promise you that. But it takes work. It takes application. But I do see. I'll go back. What I do see faith intriguing a lot of people, especially people that may not be interested in it so much, but they've never really acknowledged that they're not. But then they'll see people talking about it. And here's the kicker: people, bros that they respect. Faith is an
Mhm.
entirely different thing. If you see bros that are respectable dudes talking about it, if you see, I don't want to go too far into this, but if you see what I call the like a weak Bible thumper out there, they're physically weak and frail, and it's
Ooh.
just faith this, faith that. That's a turnoff for a lot of guys, right? That's like yeah, whatever, don't associate with me. But if you see dudes that are killing it in life that you respect, if you see dudes start talking about faith, your little masculine ears will perk up a little bit and be like, oh, all right. So I've dismissed this previously, but if these dudes who I consider smart are talking about it, you might want to little bit. And you don't have to go balls deep into it or anything, but you just listen, sit back a little while. And I use faith as a good example because that's the one I see it most often in, but it can apply to any of it. You know what I mean? It can apply to a way you see the guy leading his family. You know what I mean? If you've never really
Yeah.
given that, if you've not been an intentional leader, you might see, oh, wow, Barret is intentional as hell. I like that. Let's glean some of that. So yeah, you'll be exposed to things in here that you haven't given any thought to, and there's power in that.
The craziest part of it all is that it's such a pushback on the way society views men presently. Just look at any sort of popular TV show. It's that whole trope of the, oh, goofy dad, he doesn't know anything. Mom runs everything. Dad's just the butt of every single joke and he doesn't know it, so he laughs along with it. I can't stand that stuff. When you get in with a group of a bunch of dudes who are like, dude, that's bullshit. That's completely not how life actually works. Do you want to live your life like that? Is that the kind of family that you want to actually have? Because if you're true to yourself and you know deep down that you want to have a voice in your family, you want to lead your family, you want to be able to provide for your family, you don't want to just sit there and have them all laugh at you and be like, oh, dad's dumb, he can't do anything. Man, that stuff drives me wild.
Because it is a stereotype, and I don't know if it was created by Hollywood, or if Hollywood created it because it was a real thing, but those it can be a real thing. I see
Yeah.
there's a lot of examples where dad's just sitting there providing a paycheck and mom's running the show. And, I call that, the wife wearing the pants. And let me tell you, if you're in a situation like that, you need to take them pants back, right? Guys remaining silent and not being intentional and not holding the line. That's why we are where we are today. You need to take those pants back, but I'll warn you, it's not a light switch moment. This has to be done tactfully. If that's you, if you're living in the happy wife, happy life mentality, that ain't the way, brother. You gotta jump in here and we gotta hash that back out. We gotta change that stereotypical buffoon dad um, is intentionally leading the family and is respected. I mean, I don't know of anybody who, given the chance, wouldn't want to change that stereotype. But
Yeah.
it ain't going to change without the work. It ain't going to change without each man putting in the work. You said, the memes
Bingo.
exist for a reason, stereotypes exist for a reason. Let's turn that tide. Let's become men that hold the line because look, here's the thing. If we don't, I laugh about this. If we don't, we're going to be continued to be portrayed as buffoons. We're going to continue our way into a feminine society. We're going to continue to see churches feminized. We're going to continue to be governed by idiots. If we don't step up, this thing only gets worse, right? So how do
Yeah.
we? And if you don't know how to do that or whatever, like, jump in the group. That's why we exist. We're here to help you do that. It is our genuine desire to see this world get turned around because men have decided to put the pants back on and take charge. I mean, if you if you take nothing else from this little chat, take this. It is time for the real men to step up. And I think everybody watching this, every man watching this, you can feel that in your soul, right? Maybe you've been passive, but subconsciously you're looking around. You know damn well it is time for the real men to step up. And you're sitting out here thinking that, well, what can I change? Just little old me by yourself. Well, know that there's at least one collective, the Better Group, and there's other groups out there. There are guys trying to forge other real men to step up. Be part of that. Don't just sit there silent and complacent. You have to be part. The thing, it only works if each one of us does the work, for crying out loud. Don't
Yeah.
be sitting back there. Don't be sitting back there like a lot of guys do with the political figures. Oh, someone's coming to save us. Hey, the next president's going to save us. The next person's going to say. I say it all the time. No one's coming to save you, right? You got to take
No.
charge. You got to step up. You got to be a man about this, and we got to course correct, gents. That's all there is to it. And we can help you do that. We want to help you do that. I mean, if you've got
Yeah.
kids, you've got a stake in the future, right? And that's why I see, dude, the biggest changing point in me was like having kids. It's like, oh crap, I now have a stake in this future. If I don't want them to suffer the same fate of being ruled by idiots and, falling into the comfort trap and all this, then something's got to change. So we're here to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, the comfort trap totally nailed it, and it ties in with what we were talking about on the buffoon dad. When it's very difficult to be surrounded by a society and everyone else that's telling you that it's okay to be the buffoon. Just let the control go, hand over everything, just sit there, watch your sports, drink your beers, just go bring the paycheck in, whatever. It's okay to do that. It's okay to be comfortable. It's okay to not want to become better. That is such an insane mountain to climb solo. And I mean, it's even difficult as a collective. Like we're literally fighting against the vast majority of the current society right now, and it's unbelievably overwhelming if you're trying to do it solo. And that's one of the reasons that this whole thing kind of kicked off. And it's crazy to think that so many men have just completely accepted normal and average and I mean below average. They consider that acceptable. And I wasn't raised that way, so I can't even like empathize or put myself in that mindset of, oh, that's totally fine. I just want to get fat and watch TV all day. Like, what? Like, where was your dad? Like, how many different generations has this just been like slaughtered onto all of them, and they just finally caved? And it's like I said, it's just a massive uphill battle, and trying to fight it. If you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, dude, that's I've been saying this for years. Where's all my guys? There are not very many of us, and that's why we're building this whole thing. We are building, like, this is foundational stuff right here. I don't want to use the word revolution, but like, I want it to become one, honestly. And I don't want all the violence, but that's what happens in revolution sometimes.
As a man, you got to be comfortable with violence, right? We actually just talked about this in the group yesterday about Jordan Peterson and
Yesterday.
being violent, and man's got
Yeah.
to be comfortable with violence, got to be capable, but you got to reel it in. Um, yeah, so you said something there too. I want to if you're a guy watching this and you're getting after it, but you found that, oh, my peers, nobody around me is getting after it, and you don't identify with any of your peers anymore. Yeah, yep. That's the reason this group was built, is so that we can connect virtually, at least, even if you can't locally. Although there is hope later if you become a man of magnetism and authenticity and you can generate this in your own locale. But if you can't, if you find that you don't identify with anybody, nobody's getting after it, and you're not satisfied, you got to jump in. You got to be. This group is for you. I don't know what else to say. You know, it's like, yeah, there's a paywall, there's a barrier to entry. What's that worth to you? What's that? You're going to go the rest of your life not being surrounded by people getting after it. Does that sound good to you? Is that satisfactory? We've weeded out the trolls. We've taken the barrier to entry. We've weeded out the people that are not getting after it, and we have built a room of people getting after it. And you want to complain that there's a paywall? Like, you're literally paying. We did your work for you, and we made a room of people all getting after it that you can relate to and identify with and be encouraged by and help and all of these things. I'm telling you, going solo is not the answer. And even if you are a guy getting after it, you're an ass kicker. I can promise you, you're going to do even more being part of a group like this. You're going to be further encouraged. Either you're going to help people and show them the way, or you're going to be further encouraged that what you're doing is worth it. It's awesome. The bros are going to give you a hell yeah. You're going to feel like people look up to you. You're going to be inspired by other guys. It's just like this vicious circle of awesomeness that just keeps happening and just goes on perpetually. Um, and so I had another note that I want to talk to you, like, is like, so what happens if you don't make a change? And I talked about it, like, nothing. There's no repercussions. You're not accountable to anybody. But I actually think I might be wrong there, right? I might be wrong. So maybe nothing happens in your life, but as a collective, if we all choose to just do the nothing and just sit there in comfort, I can promise you everything gets worse. I can promise you it's not going to be a collective nothing. Everything is going to get worse. And we've watched it happen over the last few decades, centuries, whatever. We've watched it happen. So, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot to think about in this pod, man. I mean, this is a good conversation. It's a lot to think about, man. If you're sitting there on the sidelines thinking, well, I don't relate to anybody, or I want to try to be better, or I was made for more. I think we can do better than this. I've not been intentionally leading my family. There's recurring thoughts I have every day about this thing I want to build or this thing I want to try, and I ain't doing shit with that. Get the hell in here. Like, what are you even doing? Like, let's talk about it. Let's get you taken. Let's get you you know, what happens when you sign up? You sign up, you post an intro, tell us why you're here. We get your goals started. We do weekly reviews on those goals. We get you daily intentions so that you're stacking them small wins, building momentum. Every habit book talks about it. Stack small wins. Well, this is how you do that. We start up intentionally. We stack those small wins. We do that. So that's what's going to happen when you get in here. That's how this whole thing works. I want to take just a second to explain it. That's how that whole thing works. And then you just hang it. You just repeat. Monthly goals, weekly review, daily intentions, repeat for as long as it takes. And before you know, you've got habits, you've got routines, you've got systems in place, you've got bros that support you, You know guys all over the world. You've become a dude with magnetism. You're out there speaking authentically. You've dropped the dead weight. You've picked up the other authentic people, and you're part of that vicious cycle of awesomeness. It just keeps getting better every single day.
Yeah, there's literally no downside. I, it seems, I mean, just from our perspective, it's mind-boggling how tough it is to convince people, "Hey, would you want to improve your life?" Like, yeah, sign me up. If I had someone approach me and they said all of that stuff a couple of years ago, I'd be like, "Oh, absolutely." I would have zero hesitation. And it's
Overdue.
funny how much it is.
Think, I don't know if you got anything to add to that. I don't think I got anything to add.
No, I mean, I guess the last thing I was at, just in case what Don wasn't saying was unbelievably obvious, click the link below, sign up if any of this resonates with you. And if you're at the point where it's like, dude, I'm just so stuck. I don't know what to do. And even if you're getting after it and you just want to elevate yourself even more and help other men out, literally, I'm telling you right now, this is your call to action. Click the link. It's going to be below menmadebetter.com. We're on all the socials. All that'll be down there too. If you just want to check out, make sure we're not fake, making all this stuff up. But yeah, I don't know. That's it, man. I'm honestly sweating right now because I'm so fired up. I'm gonna have to go work out after
I'm pumped,
this.
dude. I
But
know. I know. I love talking about it. I love seeing the guys in the group. I just want to help as many dudes as I possibly can. And the important part is with this whole thing, with us balancing everything, I have that capacity. You know, I see dudes run men's group and they don't have the capacity. They're running to the ground. They're the what do you call it? The tugboat versus the lighthouse. They're expending all their energy
oh,
trying to help people. Well, I'm telling you, I have energy for this. I've got capacity. You know what I mean? We've been going for quite a while on this stuff. You know, I want to help. You want to help. The group wants to help. We collectively, we got to see some change in this world, and it starts with each one of us. So if this resonates with you,
that's it.
click that link, jump in, man. We're the revolution is coming.
And it will not be televised. Right on, Don. Always pleasure speaking with you. Good chats again. If you've made it this far and you don't know, we're the Better Bros. You clearly weren't paying attention or listening, but make sure you share the podcast. That's the only way these things grow. If you know, even if it doesn't really resonate with you, if you heard a buddy talking about this stuff, send him the link, man. Maybe he'll improve his life, and then you'll be like, "Oh, damn it, I should have signed up because I'm an idiot." So, all right, Don, we'll catch you later,
All right,
brother.
man. Let's go.
If you've been nodding your head along with what we've been talking about, but you're still doing nothing, it's time to step up, brother. Hit the link below in the show notes. Join the Brotherhood. www.menmadebetter.com. Let's put action behind your words.